Mathilde was a pretty charming middle-class girl. She was married to Losel, a clerk who worked in the Ministry of Education. Though born and married in a modest family, she always daydreamed about being rich. She was unhappy because she couldn't afford fine clothes and couldn't attend grand parties given and attended by the elite of the city. She always dreamt of owning a large collection of fancy clothes and expensive jewelry. But of course, she couldn't afford them. One evening, her husband handed her an invitation. Excited, she opened it and found an invitation to a grand party at the ministerial mansion. She tossed it aside, saying, "What good is that to me?" He hadn't thought about that. "Why, the dress you wear to the theater. That looks quite nice." He was surprised when she burst into tears. He gasped, "Why? What's the matter?" Using all her willpower, she stopped crying. "Oh, nothing. I don't have any party dress, so I can't go to that party." He asked her, "How much would the right outfit cost?" She thought it over for several seconds. She thought of her allowance and about how much her husband might give her. Finally, she answered, "I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I could manage with 400 francs. He was saddened because he'd saved that much for a rifle and planned to go hunting with friends. However, he said, "All right, I'll give you 400 francs. As the party neared, Mathilde seemed sad. She was upset, although her outfit was ready. One evening, her husband asked, "What's the matter?" She answered, "I'm embarrassed not to have any jewelry." Her husband said, "Borrow some from your rich friend Mame Forestier. You're good enough friends to do that." She said, "Why didn't I think of that?" The next day, she went to her friend, who offered her a large jewelry box and said, "Pick out something, my dear." Mathilde found a diamond necklace. Her heart beat faster and her hands shook when she picked it up. "Could I borrow this one?" she asked. "Why, of course." She hugged her friend and took with her the necklace. Finally, the party night came. Mathilde was the center of attention at the party, the prettiest one there. She was stylish, warm, smiling, and very happy. Everybody, including the minister, noticed her. She danced joyfully and had a wonderful time there. Around 4 o'clock, the Mathilde took a shabby cab and returned home with her husband. "I thought you'd be thrilled since you never had a chance to go out. Everybody wants to go, but few clerks can. The most important people will be there." She gave him a sour look and cried, "What do you think I would wear?" Before she went to bed, she thought of giving herself the last look in the mirror with the jewelry and fancy dress. She noticed that the borrowed diamond necklace was gone. She cried out. Her husband said, "What's wrong?" Upset, she turned toward him. I don't have my friend's necklace. That's impossible," he shouted. They searched everywhere in the apartment but found nothing. He retraced their steps, searching for hours. Her husband came in around 7 o'clock in the morning. He'd had no luck finding the necklace. By the end of the week, they had given up all hope. Loisel was dejected and horrified. He said, "We must replace the necklace." They found a necklace exactly like the first. It cost 40,000 francs, but they could get it for 36. Loisel had 18,000 francs he had inherited from his father. He borrowed the rest. He got 1,000 francs from one, 400 from another, 100 here, 60 there. He borrowed the rest of the money from moneylenders on very high interest. When Mathilde returned the necklace, her friend said coldly, "You should have returned it sooner. I might have needed it." Mame Forestier didn't open the case. Mathilde bravely faced being poor. That debt had to be paid, and she would pay it. She let her maid go, and she and her husband moved to a small and cheap apartment. She cooked and did housework on her own. She scrubbed the laundry, took out the garbage, carried up water, and dressed like a peasant. She watched every coin she spent. She bargained for food with the fruit dealer, the grocer, and the butcher, and they insulted her. Her husband worked evenings as a bookkeeper, and at night he copied documents for 5 sous a page. This lasted for 10 years. Finally, all the debts and interest were paid. Mathilde looked like an old woman now. Sometimes she'd remember when she had been so beautiful and admired. What if she hadn't lost the necklace? Who knows? How little there is between joy and misery. Then one Sunday she went for a walk. She saw a woman strolling with a child. It was Madame Forestier. She still looked young and beautiful. Madame Loisel went toward her friend saying, "Hello, Jean." The other was surprised to be spoken to so familiarly. "But, Madame, I don't recognize—" "You must be mistaken." "No, I'm Mathilde Loisel." Her friend cried out, "Oh, my dear Mathilde, how you've changed!" Yes, I've had a hard time and plenty of problems, and all because of you. Of me, what do you mean? Madame Forestier asked. Do you remember the diamond necklace I borrowed? Mathilde asked. Yes, what about it? Madame Forestier asked in surprise. I lost it, Mathilde said. But you returned it, Madame Forestier said. I bought another just like it for 36,000 francs, and we have been paying for it for 10 years. Well, it's over now, and I am glad, Mathilde said. Madame Forestier was surprised. You bought a diamond necklace to replace mine. Yes, you never noticed then? They were quite alike. Mathilde smiled with pride and simple joy. Madame Forestier, quite overcome, clasped her by the hands. Oh, my poor Mathilde, mine was fake. At most it was worth only 500 francs. Moral of the story teaches us that vanity, pride, and the desire to appear wealthy can lead to unnecessary suffering. Mathilde's longing for a luxurious life blinded her to the value of what she already had, a loving husband and a stable life. Her decision to borrow a necklace to impress others and her failure to admit the loss honestly resulted in 10 years of hardship, poverty, and struggle. If she had been truthful with her friend, she would have discovered that the necklace was fake and avoided a decade of unnecessary sacrifice. The story reminds us to embrace honesty, live within our means, and value inner contentment over outward appearances. In the end, it's not material possessions, but truth, humility, and self-acceptance that lead to lasting peace and happiness. If you like the story, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe my channel. Your support means a lot. Next video coming soon.